is a beautiful mess. A beautiful mess. Yeah. Life is a beautiful mess. A beautiful mess. Yes. Life is a beautiful mess. A beautiful mess. I'm trying, I'm crying, I feel like I'm dying. I'm doing my best.
All right, well, fuck. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back, baby.
We're back.
We're back. We're back with, I don't even know what episode this is, to be honest.
I
Who
don't know.
knows? We're in straight survival mode.
Definitely last episode of season 3.
100%. We know that. Melissa and I think you're actually in a little more survival mode than I am now because I just found out last night that I passed my fucking final Cal APA.
Yes.
I have to tell you, through this whole process, I've been saying, like, I don't give a shit what my score is because, like, cumulatively, it has to be 14. And so it's like, if I look at my scores, which I did last night, I was like on a sliding scale of I don't give a fuck. Because it was like my highest score is the first one, and then like a little bit less. And then this one was like, bitch, you made it by the skin of your teeth.
Hey,
But I
season
passed.
degrees, baby.
I passed, and really, they don't look at your score. They just look at a pass or fail, and I fucking passed, and it's done. I'll never have to do school again for the rest of my life. I mean, unless I have to clear this credential, but still, I'm not going to be a doctor, even though I really thought about a long hard about it, but I'm not going to do it. Just so people call me fucking Dr. Stacy.
Yeah, you could be anything. Like, you could just get your degree. You don't have to like treat anybody. You don't have to be anything.
The only reason I would get my doctor is to be like, call me Dr. Stacy. I wouldn't do it for any reason.
I feel like you still should do that.
Kate's man, actually, shout out to Trevor. He just found out he got into the doctorate. So congrats to TT Baby Little Prez. That's what we call him. Super proud of him. Super happy for him. Kate's very proud of him. So that's exciting.
That's awesome.
But yeah, besides that, wrapping up the school year, very, very like I think 3 weeks away from being done. Can't fucking wait for that. I'll tell you what. After this week, can't wait for that. So where about you? Where are you at in your schooling and everything else?
I'm over the hump of my little leadership program that I'm in right now. So I have, I think, 5 more weeks left of that. So still a long ways to go with that, but it's going well. This week was not too crazy. I was busy, but it's not too crazy. And then we're just trying to get situated and ready for a couple trips. We're going to Louisiana in the summertime for a wedding. And then we just booked a Hawaii trip as well with Cotina and Aaron. So
nice.
In September.
Nice. All right. Well, I guess it's time to introduce this fish. This is Sarah. We're actually sitting on the couch this time because the last time when I watched Joey's amazing episode, I was like, fuck, this lighting is on a sliding scale of sucky. So
this is like showing my true forehead
size. None of these banks can hide these. Totally fine. So this is Sarah, our friend. I literally just made a comment about how it's 3 queers today. Queers and queers only. It's not just the 2 of us queers.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about Sarah's vagina and how she had kids. For anybody listening. So hi. You're gonna have to talk louder than that, fucking baby soft voice. So yeah, we're gonna talk about Sarah inseminating herself. That's the appropriate term.
We'll get into that.
Word of the day: turkey baster.
Yeah, I have so many questions because I don't know you, so this is going to be good. And please let me know if anything's off the table. If I'll try not to be inappropriate.
No, nothing's off the
table. Oh, she's so fucking inappropriate.
Okay, good, great. We're in good company.
Okay, great, cool. It's really comfortable.
Perfect.
3 inappropriate queers.
Yeah. Should we tell her backstory?
We should not, because my parents are gonna watch this or listen to it. So.
Oh, you and I?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. There's no backstory. Okay, so let's just jump.
Nothing to talk about.
Just friends. Let's jump to. First of all, let's set the scene. Like, what was the year? Like, what was the thought process?
Okay, that is a scene. So actually, in 2017, I got in like a super bad car accident, and I was off work for a little while. And the traumatic events make you think about life and what you want, what you don't want, yada yada. And I was like, I knew I wanted to be a mom, but it was like, okay, I really want to do this. So I started looking at donors, found the one that I liked, and saved it, and then I didn't actually start the process until like 2 years later. But that's where it all like stemmed from.
Dude, so the crazy thing is like, I mean, I think I could say that we was like met, cut to, didn't really hang out years later, and it's like, oh yeah, I have twins.
Yeah.
Like literally, like,
Yeah.
hey girl, how are you?
By the way.
Yeah, like life's changed drastically, and I'm like, cool. Like, did you get a dog or something? Like, what happened? You married? Like, no, I have twins. I'm like, what? Yeah, like just and then you have to tell the part about like we'll go do the back with a little more backstory, but like you just up and did it. You didn't
Yeah.
tell anybody,
No.
right? Like
Correct.
who
Yeah.
did you actually tell? Like who did you like call somebody and say, I'm thinking about doing this, like actually doing this?
While I was already in it, so I decided to like start because I already had the donor, and then I talked to my OB first, and she was like, "Oh, you're gay, then you automatically are infertile, like
Yeah.
technically considered infertile." So
Wild.
she sent me to infertility, and then I was like, "Okay, I need to start the process with infertility." And if you want me to get into like that whole process, I can. But
Yeah.
yeah, so once I had started, like basically, I did the paperwork, I started doing tests. I told my best friend from high school, Kelly, and that was it.
So you
Nobody
didn't
else.
did you not consult with your parents because you felt like they were trying to talk you out of it?
No,
Or your family, I mean?
no, I didn't think anyone would try to talk me out of it because, like, years ago, I actually did like all the schooling to be like a foster mom, and
Yeah.
they were supportive of that. Um, but no, I just didn't want like if I inseminated and then everyone knew and then it didn't take, then it was like, hey, it didn't take. I didn't want like a push and pull and them experiencing it, like a letdown or what a miscarriage. Like
Yeah.
I just wanted it, like it was my choice, so I just wanted to go through that journey by myself. And then once I knew 100% I was pregnant, I would tell them. But
So yeah, that's so thoughtful for not only yourself and making sure you're protecting your own sanity throughout all of that and protecting yourself, but like protecting the people that you love that would then get attached to the idea of that, which is super sweet. So when you were like thinking about all of this, it was just an individual journey for you. You weren't like in a relationship talking about kids with anybody. It's just you have always just wanted to be a mom.
I have always wanted to be a mom. I No, I was not. I was not seeing anybody at the time at all.
You're like 6 months in, like, hey, just so you know, like,
Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Um, no, and I had dated on and off basically. I came out at 30, I think. And so I had dated like some really like nice girls or
amazing
whatever.
people.
Yeah, amazing people that things just didn't work out or whatever. And even like one person I definitely could have like she was fantastic. Like I could have seen having kids with, but like not, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah.
but like we're still friends. She talked to me when she went through the process with her wife, like all of that. But yeah, no, there was nobody at the time. And I hadn't been with anyone long enough to like think I would go through that process.
Consider that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I know this is like gonna sound kind of mean, but I knew I could do it alone, like financially, mentally, physically, like I knew I could handle it alone. And I didn't really want like a second opinion. Like,
Yeah.
because even if it's like the love of your life, it's gonna bring up stuff for you guys as you parent. And now, even with like how hard it is having 2 4-year-olds, I can't imagine having someone else's opinion. Like, I don't know.
How does that impact, like, because you, from what I remember, had step parents kind of young,
Mhm.
and same for me. Like, I've had a stepmom and a stepdad since I was in like kindergarten. Like the way the dynamic was like my stepmom never disciplined us. My stepdad never disciplined us, even though I lived full time with my stepdad and my mom. It was rare he'd always like have my mom handle stuff. Like, how even is it with, I know we're kind of jumping all over because I do want the whole story, but how has it been as far as like dating? I know you dated somebody with a kid or maybe multiple people at this point. Like, are they allowed to say stuff to your kids, or like how do you handle that?
Well, I mean, they're young, so that's different. I have dated a couple girls that have kids. Um, I think there's like a safety aspect. Like if I'm like running an errand or in the shower or making dinner and they're hanging with the girls,
Yeah.
like I expect them to not allow them to do something that they're gonna get hurt or
Yeah.
or something crazy, like if they're gonna like pour their food out or dump their drink or whatever, then yeah, any adult I feel like should be like, hey, that's a bad idea. But like actual discipline, no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Unless I was like living with someone and it was like, okay, they're like on the way to being another parent and it was like this is it type of a deal, then I think that would be okay, but never.
And I feel like it would like take a very serious conversation, like
Oh, yeah.
boundaries and all these things that would
Yeah.
probably happen before someone's coming in and co-parenting.
Yeah.
and that-
100%.
I think that will take a long time. Whenever like I do find that person, it's gonna take time.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think it would be beneficial and informative to like talk about the process for maybe other like queer couples or even like single queer people who are interested in having obviously queer women because you know science.
Infertile.
Uteruses.
Yeah, science.
Uteruses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like from the get-go.
From the jump, you did the test, you talked to the OB, and then like what was like the next process?
Well, I'll talk about the donor thing first real
Oh
quick,
yeah.
because some people will like pick donors out of state, whatever. Like you don't have to just pick someone in California. I went through the California cryobank and literally you just like make a sign in, log in, and it's essentially like online dating. Like you can put in your preferences. Like my preferences were 6 feet and up, just because I'm short. I'm like, I want to give my kids a chance, like being a little taller, especially like if I had boys. I wanted curly hair, so I put that as a filter, and I wanted someone that was Latino. So I filtered by all of that. And then this guy, you can see photos of when they're an adult, a child, and then a baby. Um, so obviously, like I want someone attractive, or that I think's attractive. So that's how I chose him. Uh, and then after that, I went through like with the OB infertility clinic. They did a fallopian tube test to make sure your fallopian tubes are working properly. They do an ultrasound like before they'll even get started. And trying to think, just a lot of paperwork. You have to, it's like a whole packet of everything you have to like fill out about yourself, your own history, yada yada. And then the fertility clinic also matches like your, I don't know if it's your, it's like blood types or chromosome stuff
Yeah.
up against the donor, because there's certain things that if like you tested yes for this and he tested yes for that, they don't mix. Like there's a lot of stuff like that. Yeah, but it's like, well, what if
Damn,
they
you
just
get
got
to just go in
married?
and like, yeah, I was gonna say, like, what about a hetero couple who's like,
Yeah,
they're not doing fucking chromosome shit.
and they probably should.
I mean,
like I know things can happen no matter what, but I was kind of happy to know that, like, okay, we have like the best chances here.
what were some of your like standards with your online donor dating? Like, what were you like? I'm looking for this, or were you just like healthy, mentally healthy, blah 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 blah?
Yeah, like are they artsy? Are they
Yeah,
No,
like,
I didn't care about any of that. Only people I've talked to is like, okay, so did you want them to have like a master's or this and that? I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Literally all I wanted was 6 feet and up, curly hair, Latino. That was it.
why the curly hair?
I like curly hair. I thought it was
Smart.
pretty.
I don't give a fuck. Curly hair though.
Do your girls have curly hair?
They do. But also
okay,
like my
double check.
mom has wavy hair. All three of my brothers have like curl in their hair. I just have very straight hair like my dad. So it could be from my mom's genes just coming through, or it could be from his. I don't know.
Oh, Bella dead.
Yeah.
Masters.
He's very
Barf.
he's not someone I would probably hang out with. Like he's like into antiquing. It's like possibly he's gay. I don't know.
Oh, he's something I'd be into hanging out with. What's his number?
He's very, I have no idea. I don't. He just sounds very smart. Like I've heard his voice. He did like an audio clip, so like the kids can have that later.
Cool.
Photos. I have all his families, like maternal and paternal. So his like parents, then grandparents, and his siblings, all their health info. So just in case something were to happen, like I have that information.
Will he remain anonymous? Like, I know that some of them can like be available, right? When kids turn 18, or am I just watching
Yeah,
too much
no,
TV?
you're correct. You're correct. Yeah,
Watches
yeah.
a lot of Lifetime, you know what I mean?
So you do, some people do filter by that actually, like they want a donor who is willing to like meet the kids at 18. For me, I didn't really care about that either way, but he is willing to meet at 18. So then they would release his information to us if the girls like wanted to ever reach out.
Which is so wild because like we'll get to it, but this is like he has multiple. He's like he's jizzing all over the world. Sounds like.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't say it in the
trialing.
most eloquent way, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a very attractive guy, very attractive. And the way he speaks is like, he just sounds educated, like, and he has a degree, but he only, at that time, he had a bachelor's. So,
Loser.
yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Maybe Nick Cannon didn't realize that a sperm bank was an option for him. He didn't have to physically have 1,000 kids.
Dude, have you heard the theory on Nick Cannon though? He has like sickle cell or something, or he basically is creating enough kids to have a donor for when his organs ultimately fail because of his chronic disease or whatever.
I thought he was just trying to like leave a legacy.
too.
Girl, he's trying to get a kidney is what he's trying to do.
Well,
he did the chromosome
He'll get a
testing.
match.
He did the homie with extra chromies. Damn, that's crazy. So that, I mean, that is kind of cool. You get to just kind of search through. So you literally figured out who you wanted, sat on it for 2 years, and then followed. So he was just like, was he like a regular, a punch card or something? Like, how's that work?
I don't know.
they freeze it, I think.
Yeah, it's all frozen. So like when I went to get inseminated, they have you check all the paperwork, and I saw it, the date on it said 2017. So it had been frozen since 2017. So I don't know if he donated like back then and that was it, because there's no more. He's run out of sperm. Like the week that I got inseminated, there was none left. So I don't know if I got the last one or someone else did.
I wonder if he gets paid for that. Do they get paid for that?
I think so.
They do. It's just not nearly as much as like when they get paid for their eggs.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's a
do
lot
the egg
easier
thing
process.
in college, and my mom was so mad at me. She's like, "Don't you dare!" I'm like, "I'm gonna bless somebody." What the fuck is you talking about? Because it was like $4,000 when I was like 21. That's a shit ton of money
Yeah.
in the 2000s. You know.
Yeah. Well, I have an
Santa
aunt
Barbara,
that,
I mean, dumb rent.
I have an aunt that couldn't get pregnant, and I was like, dude, if it's just an egg, like you can have one of mine, but I don't know how weird that's gonna be. But
Girl,
like she wanted to be a parent so badly, and it's like there's so many people out there that just want to be a parent and physically just can't. Like our bodies are working against us sometimes.
I mean, as much as
Yeah.
I've like your story, I've never wanted to be a mom. I never like grew up caring about being a mom or getting married or any of that's ever been like my dream. But I definitely had a period, I think right before I hit 40, where I was like talking to my doctor about freezing my eggs. I don't know if you have who you have. I had Kaiser. They like basically talked me out of it. They were just like, you're just getting, OB years. I'm a senior citizen.
Yeah.
I'm 42, so it's like you're all the shit. I'm like, bitch, I'm
Period.
fucking Mexican. Like, I will have a kid right now and be fine. I'm sure.
I'll be 98 years old.
Period. Like, but I think that they just very much were like, do you want to go through this whole process? It's a lot of hormones, it's expensive. You don't even know if you want to be a mom. And it's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to be a mom at 39, but like 43, maybe I might want to. I don't fucking know. I know the way my brain works, and this is leading into a question for you. The way I process and my brain works is, and this is something Melissa knows has always been a fear of mine. I have so many of my own personal goals that I like had to like compartmentalize and get through, right? So even this big, like this is my last time being in school, and now I feel very like, okay, cool. Like I have a lot of big things professionally coming up, and it's all great. But it's like, who the fuck knows? I may wake up on Sunday and be like, I kind of want to be a mom. Like I got through it, and now it's like, let me start my personal life. I actually know somebody, one of my master's professors, she just did that. She just inseminated. I'm assuming, I don't want to assume, but I'm gonna assume that she inseminated herself, and she just had her babies like 3 weeks, and she's I think 40, and she's just like, I'm pumped, and I always wanted to be a mom. She was married and it didn't work out, and she divorced, she ditched the loser and had a fucking baby. And I'm like, hell yeah, girl,
Yeah. I go back and forth. I'm not like I think I'm okay either way it works out, but like sometimes I do like want a kid,
Well, it's hard because you're in like a healthy partnership. which makes it even harder, right? The only time I was like, I want to be a mom was when I was with my first ex, my healthiest relationship. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see him be a dad. Like, that's so cool. But like, I got out of it and was like, nope,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure you like want to see a little Casey running around. That would be sick. But then it's like,
It'd be
but do
annoying.
you?
Two of them.
Yeah, but do you? I mean, come on. Okay, so that's interesting. So basically, he just, jerks off, saves a bunch of sperm,
No, they go
freezes
into the
it.
cryo. They go into the cryo bank, do it there, and then it's called washing it. So basically they separate, so all the sperm, because there's like sperm and then sperm fluid together, right? It's not all just swimmers, right?
This is the most educational podcast we've had so far.
I literally learned so much about pregnancy in our bodies. I never learned like in high school, college, nothing. I was actually really
Yeah, you were hetero for a minute.
well, yeah, but that's neither here nor there in this conversation.
Well, I didn't know there's sperm fluid. I'm half hetero. I thought it was like sperm is, it's
No.
You thought it was all just
yeah.
swimmers?
No.
Yes.
No, so they separate everything so that basically you have the purest, like that's all you're getting, and there's an amount that they have to like inject. So that's what they do at like the cryo bank. And then they send it to you. And so do you want me to continue on the process?
I was turkey basing like on that, about to say it on that
Okay.
path. Let's go.
So it's not
So
a
this
turkey
is
bake
what we
here,
really
but,
are interested in.
So I literally went to my first like in-person appointment. They did an ultrasound. They checked to see like when your eggs are supposed to drop. And she's like, "Oh, your eggs are gonna drop on Friday," which I think so wild. They can just like
Yeah, I
shove
didn't even know
up,
that.
look at your ovaries and be like, "Oh yeah, they're coming in a couple days." Cool.
Go purchase them.
Yeah.
She actually told me I had 2 eggs. She was like, "It looks like you're gonna drop 2 eggs this month, but we only want to do one baby at a time." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, of course." She's like, "Okay, so order the sperm, and then you'll come back. You'll do so. This is what I did: Monday appointment, Tuesday ordered sperm, literally over the phone. It got FedEx to the FedEx like downtown. Wednesday, shot in my stomach, just one like hormone shot to help make sure they drop. Thursday, picked up the sperm in like a cryo tank at FedEx. Friday, inseminated. That's how fast my process went once it was like, okay, I'm in here.
Did they inseminate you at the clinic or you inseminated yourself? Okay.
No,
You didn't Ben Tina it? I would have Ben Tina it.
No, that
I would have invited a little Philly over. Hold
okay.
on.
Let me tell you, everyone listening, don't try that. Okay, unless financially that's the way you need to go, don't go that route because the success rate is so much lower doing it that way. Because, okay, so your body, sorry, mom and dad, a penis can only get so far, right? It doesn't go all the way to your fallopian tubes. So when you're in the doctor,
Challenge accepted.
when you're in the doctor, it's like this tiny needle syringe. They go all the way through your cervix to the fallopian tubes. Like literally, she went up, pricked the top of my uterus, which is like somewhere high because I felt it. And I was like, "Oh," and she's like, "Oh, okay, we're at the end." She pulled back a little
God.
and then just shot it in. It's so that they just only have to swim down the tubes. That's it. Because if you like inseminate just like in your vagina, it has to swim through everything, and we have like acid in our vagina that actually kills sperm. So then that takes like you just paid all this money for sperm, and now your own body's like, no, no, no. Like you want your best chances to be right by the fallopian tubes.
Okay.
Imagine some little like ninja people like
no, that's my body. No, bitch, no, bitch, no, bitch. Not happening. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so how there's so many accidental prank? Okay. I get it now.
I don't know.
That's
But,
wild.
yeah. So I got inseminated that Friday. And then
Just went home and sat on it. God, you were like, I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
all my secrets. Because that's a vault.
Right?
yeah.
That's a vault. I'm telling all my business.
Yeah.
She's like, no, thank you.
And
Yeah, she's like, I'm actually not telling you anything.
maybe like 9 or 10 days later. So after that, I was like, I went on a trip to like SoCal for like 2 weeks, right? Just by myself, like stayed with different friends, had like a great time. And once I hit like 9 or 10 days, I was staying at a friend's house, a lesbian couple, and I told them about it. But I was like, I don't know if I'm pregnant.
Oh, so you're a liar. You
Yeah.
only told Tina. What was her name?
Kelly.
Kelly.
Beforehand, to be
Yeah.
fair, he said beforehand.
True.
Yeah. But it was really weird because obviously I hadn't gained any weight. I didn't even have like a pregnancy test at that point. But my stomach, like, so maybe my uterus or like very, very low stomach felt like bloated almost. Like wearing regular pants, it like felt like so much pressure. It was so weird. And I was like, that might have actually took. Like, but I wasn't even in the time frame to take a pregnancy test. And then a couple days go by, I like fly back and I start getting like a metallic, like nickel taste in my mouth. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I Google that. Turns out that is a pregnancy symptom.
What the hell?
Yeah. So it talks about like your
Are we even women? We don't know any of this.
I mean, why you wouldn't unless you went through the
I
process.
know a lot of shit. I don't know any of this.
And then I started getting like hyper smell, which most
Oh,
pregnant women
God.
get that. But
I
it
hate
hit,
being around pregnant women for that reason, honestly.
yeah. But it hit me obviously it hit me before I had a positive pregnancy test. Like smells, I was just like, oh my gosh, the worst one my whole pregnancy was smoke, like cigarette smoke and men's cologne. Men's cologne, I would like gag, like the smell of
Oh
it.
my God, I love men's
Yeah.
cologne. You know what's so funny is well, duh, you had two in you.
Yeah.
They're probably
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
but that's how Kayla was working in a preschool class, right? Like, I feel like everybody in my class has pregnancy knows, even though nobody better be fucking pregnant. Dude, I'm like, don't drink the water at Vineland because there's literally Kayla just had a baby and two other teachers are pregnant. It's wild. I'm like, Kayla would be like, who pooped? And I'm like, dude, I don't think the poop's even come out yet, and you could already smell it. Just because it's like there's constantly poopy diapers, like that's my job. So she'd be like, no, it's coming. Someone's releasing gas. And I'd be like,
Oh my God.
yeah, like pregnancy nose is real.
It is real.
It's wild how like people just smell things before they even have happened yet.
So my growing up and every time I'm around my siblings, they always make fun of me because I'm like that now. So I can only imagine how it would be if I was pregnant.
She really is. Like, she
would be
really is.
barfing.
Yeah. Well, and it's also she's like in the dental field, like, dude, I think that person has a cavity. I'm like, Jesus. My grandma was like on me about flossing, and I feel like Melissa scared me to even flossing even more.
Well, I don't even work in the back.
Yeah, but you've mentioned so many times about how people are like disgusting when they don't floss, and I'm like, dude, she made me self-conscious. I already floss twice a day.
I mean, sometimes people's teeth are only hanging on because of their plaque
And oh my,
and tartar.
dude, don't even say that. It's so.
And then once
fucking
it
gross.
scrapes off, their teeth are all loose and fall out. It's so gross.
That's insane.
Okay, we
Okay,
took
let me
we took
get
a
back.
hard left. Yeah, we
I
took a
know.
hard left.
Okay,
Sorry, that was my
so
fault.
I ended up taking a pregnancy test early because you're supposed to wait 2 weeks. Like they tell you the date you're supposed to
Why?
take it. I don't know. I guess that's just
So you're not a rule follower. I like that.
so I took one, it was positive. Then the next day I took a different brand, negative. So I was like, okay, I'll wait and take one the day they told me to, which was a Friday the 13th. Right? Weird. So I take it like first thing in the morning, because you're supposed to take it without like drinking coffee or like other stuff that could dilute, I guess.
You keep saying me and Melissa are like, we don't actually. Yeah.
We know now.
Yeah.
And it was positive immediately. So after that, I called the infertility clinic, told them, and they said, come in, get a blood test. So I had a blood test, and then you have to go back like 2 days later to see if your hormones are increasing at like the proper rate. So then I went back second time. When I saw them, mine were regressing very rapidly, which I should have known something was up at that point. But it just must have been, I mean, I don't even know if they're girls at that point. I don't think they are gendered at that point. Like
Couldn't tell you.
It was less than 3 weeks in. So no, they're not gendered at that point. But it must have just been because there was two. But so then they booked me my first appointment about 6 weeks, which is pretty early. Like women lose babies at 6 weeks all the time. Like most people don't get ultrasounds that early. So I have that. The MP who did the ultrasound was like, wow, that's a really big baby. And I was just like, shoot, I picked a tall donor, like that's like, 8, 9
Monster
pounds
baby, like, yeah.
Ruin my vagina. But nope, turns out I found out at my 11 week, like first one with my OB, not at the infertility clinic. two babies. Like she's doing the ultrasound. I hear the heartbeat for the first time. And by myself, my mom, like I accidentally told her the wrong Kaiser, so she didn't make it to the appointment. She's in the waiting room. And
This is during COVID, right?
no,
Oh,
COVID hadn't
pre-COVID.
COVID yet.
Okay.
This is like the fall before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So you had to have your babies during COVID?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna ask
We'll
you.
get to
I
it.
know this story. Yeah.
So I see like the baby's profile. I hear the heartbeat. It's like total first time mom, what you would expect. Like, oh my gosh, like there's my little perfect baby. And then she moves the ultrasound and goes, and there's another one. And I was just like,
Another
Excuse
one.
me?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I was laying there and I just looked up and the only thing going through my head was fuck. That's it. Like literally. And I've said that to my mom, which she obviously doesn't like that, but there was nothing. I was like, what the fuck?
Why? That's
Oh,
like
fuck.
such a
Like,
genuine response.
I'm honestly glad she wasn't in there because I don't know what I would have done having like my feelings and then talking to like, and then she would have had her feelings. Like, I don't know that I could have handled it. So it's probably a good thing there was like a mix up. But even my OB
I mean,
was
we
shocked.
could go as far to say is the mix-up happened for a reason. You got to feel your
Yeah.
genuine response, which like I think I mean, you literally like made it. This wasn't an accident, you know.
Right.
You didn't like hook up with a dude and it was like, oh my God, like a one night stand.
Yeah.
Like you made this happen.
Yeah.
So that is a genuine response that you're telling, because of course it's like I am physically, financially, mentally, emotionally prepared for baby. Baby. Yeah.
Yeah. I had already made like my whole baby registry. I mean, not the whole thing, but I had like
Did you just go in and edit?
You know, two.
no, I deleted it. I scrapped it because it's like a lot of stuff. It's like not the same. Like strollers aren't the same. Pack and plays aren't like there's just all the stuff that's not the same. Or you need things that are more compact so you can fit two car seats, that are like thinner. Like it's just not a lot of it's not the same. But yeah.
That's
Yep.
wild.
So are they identical twins?
They are.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it was just
they-
one egg that they
They split,
That-
yeah, very early on. Apparently, it's like within days they split. It's not later on. Down
I
the
can't
road.
tell them apart for shit. I'm like, well, who are you?
Yeah,
how do you tell them apart? Like personalities or
to me, they look very different, and I think that must be like some biological thing, like a mother's eyes. Like they just look totally different to me. So
Yeah, I've had many sets of twins. It's kind of common in the autism world to have like a neurotypical twin and a typical twin.
Mhm.
But I have in my career, and I've even had a boy and a girl both on the spectrum twin. And the girl was a little shit, and the boy was like the sweetest boy ever. It's funny enough. But right now I have twins, and one of them is in my class, Estebear, and the other one is, that's what I call him. The one next door is his brother, and I cannot tell them apart for shit. And the mom's like, no, that's him, that's him. And I'm like, she dresses them exactly the same, not a different color shirt, not nothing. Like they're the cutest. God, they're the cutest twins. Little boys, they're tiniest. I mean, they're little babies. They're like 3.
Aw.
Just turned 3 like in December, like little guys. It's wild. It's
Yeah.
wild. So I've met her kids multiple times. I've hung out, and I'm like, I don't know who I'm talking to. Hey, you.
Yeah, their personalities are very different.
I've
Like,
seen that recently. Their personalities are different. One is like into me, and the other one's like, I don't know her that well.
yeah, it's really interesting because one is also very much like me, like personality wise. And it's weird because whatever, because they're identical twins, but one of them to me looks more like me, and one of them to me looks more like their half siblings, or my brother. Like it's very
Which brother?
Robert.
Oh, really?
Mhm. One of the girls looked a lot like him as a baby. It was so weird to me. But I'm like, why just one?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've mixed them up in a photo one time. Like my mom sent me a picture and I was like, oh, so and so looks whatever. And my mom's like, that's not her.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha, bitch.
Uh.
Damn. So roll into the half siblings thing, because I actually just learned about this and I'm like, that is wild.
Okay, can I go back real quick?
Yeah. You whatever you want.
Okay, so for anyone listening who is wanting to go through this process, they told me at the infertility clinic to give myself minimum 4 tries to get pregnant. So they were like, after 4 tries is when we reassess and see, like, is there something else going on with your body? Or, like, basically, like, would it be me being the problem or what? So for anyone out there who is like gonna try, because I got pregnant first try, that's very, very rare. Mexican, hey.
Period.
But yeah, and
How old were you though, too, though? We didn't say.
33.
Okay, so
That-
you're young.
Yeah, that was one thing that I really wanted to do it before 35 because they call you geriatric after 35.
You're like,
And like,
bitch.
well, like statistically, miscarriages go up like significantly after 35. Risks of, like mental disabilities, cognitive, like all of that go up
100%. Yeah.
after 35. And then like your own complications, twins goes up after 35 because your body's releasing more eggs, which is why I mentioned the 2 egg thing.
Yeah.
She told me, oh, you're gonna drop 2 eggs. So I could have had triplets. Like I could have had the
That's
twin
wild.
that split and then the other egg get fertilized. Thank God it didn't. I literally made the radiologist check. So I was like, I can do 2 because I have 2 arms. I cannot do 2 by myself. Like,
Well, I can't even imagine having 2. One of my cousins on my dad's side has twins. There's actually, funny enough, on both sides of my family, there's a lot of twins. My grandma Swingle used to always tell me, like, the second you get engaged, it's never when's the wedding, it's when you're having kids. And it is true. If you talk to a lot of couples, I remember my period of couple years of being engaged, it was extremely annoying because you don't get to enjoy it, but it's also like very personal information, right? That it's like, why are you asking me that? But my grandma used to tell me, she used to say the twins because she used to say she would dream all the time that I was going to have twins.
That's so funny.
She would literally say all the time, when you have your twins, because on my dad's side, in my immediate family, 2 of my first cousins have sets of twins. And then on my dad's side, there's 2 sets of twins. Or my mom's side, there's 2 or 1. I don't remember. Anyway, my cousin Nikki, she had twins and she went through in vitro, I think.
yeah,
But she said herself, I remember her telling a story because I was like, hey, how's it going? And she's like, my dad's over here pushing. I try to get some sleep. My dad's rocking one twin while he's feeding the other. Like, that's just what it is. And she has a full husband. And she's like,
a full husband?
yeah, she got a full ass husband. She's like,
Oh.
it's hella hard because, like, he's working and, like, we're trying to raise 2. And I'm like, dude, you're doing this shit all by yourself.
That's what.
I
Did you
mean,
have to take?
it takes a village, right? Like, your family,
Yeah. Yeah, my family is amazing. Like I couldn't ask for better grandparents for my daughters. Especially like, so I stayed with my mom the first month and then the second month I stayed with my dad. So like they were obviously helping with feedings, all of that. And then when the girls were 2.5 months old, I moved back like to our house alone. So from 2.5 months till now, it's just been us 3. And some people are like, how did you do it? Or people like friends of mine who have newborns right now, they're like, I don't know how you did it with 2. Like we are barely doing it and it's like 2 of them.
Mhm.
Like, do not know. I think you just don't have a choice and that's all you know. Like I only know having 2 at once. So if I had 1, I'd probably think it was easy now. But if I had 1 to start, like it's all relative. That's all I've known.
When you are really patient, just so as someone who's been around enough times to like watch how you parent. Obviously, I'm watching because I am a teacher, so that's like naturally something I'm gonna pick up on, not judging,
Yeah.
but watching. You are a very gentle parent, and I could see when you're getting frustrated and it is justified, because I think her girls, when I'm a stranger to them, so when I'm around, they are very needy for her until they feel comfortable around me. And she's very like, give me a second. Like, but it's gentle parenting, but it's also very like, this is your choices. And I'm like, yo, I would have lost my shit already. Like, you are so calm,
I mean,
and
there's times that I do.
of course, because you're not a perfect person, but I'm just saying what I've observed has been very gentle parenting, and I respect that, because it's not easy. You have to tell the story though about the sickness. I mean, shit, I feel like you just went through it again. Like COVID, like everybody being sick in the house, and
Oh, when we all had COVID?
all had COVID.
Do you want me to talk about? I mean, we're like super skipping around. Do you
This
want
is
me
how
to
we do
talk?
it, girl.
Okay.
Just a natural conversation.
Let
I
me
do
know.
have one more question though. About
Yeah, go.
Did you have to take hormones or no? Just all the process of
So
the
hormone
screenings?
shot. The
Just
one
one shot.
shot, so that was on Wednesday before I got inseminated on Friday, and it
That
was
was it.
to make sure, yeah, everything drops. That was it. It was not like the ongoing, like a lot of women I've seen, they have to get shots like constantly, and those, from what I understand, are terrible. Like I had
Yeah.
the one shot, and I started having like, I was super emotional. It was like PMS on steroids,
Oh
and I wasn't even,
God.
I hadn't even been inseminated yet. So I can't imagine the women that do have to do that. And I didn't mention earlier, but I did IUI, which is intrauterine inception. So that's where they go all the way up there. So I did not do IVF. IVF is embryos. So we're like in the lab, they're creating like
Yeah,
the embryo, and then they put it in to your uterus. I didn't do that. That is extremely expensive. I was
yeah.
not about to go that route. So I paid about 1,800 total. And the majority of it, the sperm alone, so sperm plus shipping of the cryo tank was 1,350. So from Burbank, California up here, 1,350 for the sperm.
Is
And
that where he lives?
that's where the cryo bank is. I have no
Oh.
idea where he lives. He has
Why do you keep imagining him jerking off
Dude, I
in
literally
the
have
bedroom and shipping his sperm to her?
there's a whole movie going on in my head. Because I'm just so intrigued by like, I mean, just like, I don't know. We can go so far left on this, but like just the privilege of being a man, right? And being able to like make money and
Yeah.
just go like jerk off and
But I honestly think it's like hundreds to the thousands, like versus women. Like they could make a couple hundred per time. We could make a couple thousand per time.
I mean, period. I know.
So
I almost went through that process. My mom talked me off that ledge. She'd have done it.
But like they don't have to take hormones. It doesn't hurt. Like women, it's a whole process, like surgically to go in and take them. You have to be on hormones. You have to be on like pregnancy vitamins. Like there's a whole process.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Really
true.
it makes you like think about like how it impacts like people that have severe hormonal imbalances outside of even pregnancy, like just the way you felt with that one shot and you were like going crazy, like that's
Yeah.
real life. That's like real life for some people. It's kind of sad.
It is
Yeah.
sad, and God, I will tell you, I will rip your fucking head off if you like men who say to women like, "Are you on your period?" Even joking, I'm like, I will dead ass kick you in your dick, like because I will say on the record, and I think I've said this before, I am lucky enough. I don't PMS. I don't really get cramps. It's like Tuesday's here. Oh shit! I started my period. I'm not you know, it's like it's like a joke in my family. I don't think anybody laughs. It's just my own joke. But like
You guys
Amanda's
talk
like,
all about your period.
yeah, like Amanda's like long torso. Like my sister looks like she just got off a horse with her like long, beautiful hair. And then she chops it and should look like Lord Farquaad. She doesn't. She still looks stunning. And she's like beautiful skin, doesn't need to wear makeup. But her periods are like crazy gremlin, psychotic, throw her some chicken and like run. Periods. Moody, right? But like everything else about her is just like perfect. So sometimes for me, I'm like, I mean, I've always been a little chubby. Like my skin was really bad at one point, not now, but like, but I don't really have any issues with my periods. And to be honest, the times I have is when I was on birth control, when it's like, this is going to regulate you. I'm like, but I don't want it to. Like, I like having a period every 90 days, you
Yeah.
know, I don't want to. So it's like, yeah, I do feel really bad for those people though. Sorry if you guys are those people, but
I mean, it's definitely worse since pregnancy.
I was going to say, what is it
takes your-
post-pregnancy?
Yeah, it takes your body a lot of time. But hold on, I'm gonna go back real quick to the money thing. Sorry, just in case anyone's curious, like even Melissa, if you're curious about the money, like I have
Stop trying to listen
Kaiser.
to having twins, dude.
No. I have Kaiser, and like thankfully because my OB was like you're infertile, like because you're gay, that means all of my stuff was covered. The only thing I paid for was sperm, and then I paid for that one shot, which was $150. That's it. And then for the fallopian tube test, I had to pay a difference of like, so insurance covered the majority. My difference was like $350. So that's what brought my total to about 1,800. That is literally a drop in the bucket. Some women are 10,
About 20, 30, yeah.
yes, every try.
Nothing I want that
there.
bad.
So I don't want people to think like this is not the norm. Paying that little is not the norm. Getting pregnant the first time is not the norm. Like, yes, that could obviously happen for other people, but it's usually a couple tries, and it's usually more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I didn't know it was that cheap. That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will order multiple vials of sperm. Like, okay, I want this guy, so I want to make sure I have some, and especially if they want siblings. So some like lesbian couples will buy like like 10 vials and then just store it, and you can
That
pay
makes
to store it.
sense.
Yeah, it totally does. There's some couples that will buy out a donor because they don't want them to have any siblings, like any half siblings.
Can you sell? I don't know if you know the answer. Can they sell that back then?
Is there a black market?
No, like meaning
Not a
like
black-
back to the bank, I guess if they were like, no,
Yeah.
we're like done
They just
with
buy it.
You
having
can?
kids.
Yeah. They'll buy back, but obviously not at what you bought it for.
Yeah.
What do you think the like psychology is behind because I want to get into the gay shit. What is like the psychology behind like let me buy all of this so they don't have siblings? Is it like I want to protect my kids from having to deal with any potential like some 18-year-old doing ancestry.com and figuring out, it's like well, I don't know. I don't what's the big deal?
I mean, if your kids have two parents of the same gender, they're gonna know obviously they weren't made biologically.
And also
it's not
any
yet.
could have extra kids we don't know about. My dad's
Hello. I just learned about a brother a few years ago.
dude, dead ass, table that because dead ass, my dad literally, and it was a joke, would say to Vince and I all the time, oh, you have siblings all over the place. You have siblings all over the place. And I'd be like, ha ha ha. Now that he's dead, I mean, 23 years he's been gone now. I'm like, no, like, is
You
he?
might.
Joey and Chanel got me a ancestry book. That shit's in my closet still. Joey just asked me about it. And I said two things. I never really wanted to do it because I know to some extent the government has my DNA, but I don't want them fully having my shit. I do feel some type of way about it, which is why I haven't done it. Also, yes, I am fearful to find out because I think that would fucking mentally and emotionally crush my soul if I knew my dad had another sibling or if I had another sibling out there. My siblings mean everything to me. So to think that there's a person on this world that I don't have a relationship with, that would kill me. It wouldn't even be him. He cheated on my mom all the time. I don't give a fuck about that. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean? I would be really upset about that.
I wasn't upset. I was just like, okay, I want to meet him. Like,
what's that? Who is this from?
My mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got
I didn't know
pregnant her summer, like out of high school, and then gave him up for adoption, which like was the right thing to do.
Totally.
Totally. She
I
gave
respect her decision.
his parents couldn't have kids biologically, and like they have been amazing parents to him. They adopted two other girls like from different families or whatever. So he grew up with sisters, and then we found out about him maybe 5 years ago. It was like right before I got pregnant. So
That's wild.
yeah.
Oh, this was just something your mom didn't share with you guys until then?
Yeah, correct. So she hadn't told anybody. My dad knew, and then my stepdad knows, obviously. Talk about keeping secrets. Like my dad has known, my dad and my mom were only together like a handful of years, had 3 kids, and then got divorced. Like, and he never told that secret.
And it's not a secret to tell.
Right. But
You
that's
know?
kind of amazing.
And honestly, maybe he's more than likely protecting you 3.
Yeah, I don't know. Because it wasn't, none of us were upset. It was just like, okay, do you have any pictures of him? What's his name? What does he look like? Where does he live? Like,
Dude, what if he showed you a picture and it was like looking in the mirror?
he looks like Robert, my little brother.
Why does everybody look like Robert and not the other one?
Ryan? Ryan looks a lot like my dad said. That's why.
Everybody looks like Robert. I've met Robert. He's really cool. We actually clicked like instantly.
Yeah. So he's actually, my half brother, his name's Jesse. He's coming to SAC in like 2 weeks. So we're all gonna hang out.
Dude, so roll that into the
Interesting.
trip you just took.
So through the California Cryobank, there's a sibling registry, and you have to like apply and put in the donor you use, when you got inseminated, the date of your kids, like all this stuff, and they have to process your like app for it. And then once they approve it, you get into the sibling registry of all the kids who have come from the same donor. So I did that maybe 2 years ago, if that, and found out there was like a handful out there, mostly boys. There was one other girl at the time, and then the rest, I think it was like 5 boys or something. All born in 2020 or after. So one of the moms, after I had got on there for like a day, one of the moms emailed me and was like, hey, her name is Sarah as well. She's like, my name's Sarah. Like I have a son through the same donor. We have a private Facebook group for all the moms and all the siblings, like if you want to join. And I was like, yeah, I don't have Facebook, but I want to like see them all, you know. I
Mhm.
want to see if they look like my girls, all of that. But really why I put them on the registry was like, I don't know where they're going to end up in the States, in other countries. Like, I don't need them meeting and falling in love with half siblings, guy or girl. Like, we just
Yeah.
don't need that. So I was like, I just need to know for like safety purposes. Never thinking I would like talk to a mom. Like that never crossed my mind. It was literally just like, okay, come like college age, I need to be aware.
Mhm.
But so with this group, there was, I think maybe like 4 or 5 moms on there at the time. Now it's a lot more. Um, yeah. So at the time when I
Hold
joined,
hold on, because my brain just processed this. You have a private Facebook group with just all the babies this dude has made.
yes,
6 foot tall guy.
yes,
Damn, dude. That's wild.
yeah, it's just all the moms.
And
And
how, what's the,
What if he's on there anonymously?
bro, I was literally just
Yeah.
gonna say, what if he just joined and he like, and were you inseminated between this period of time, this period of time? And he's like, make some shit up. Like, let me see all my kids.
Oh, like one of the moms just made the group, so she has to let you in.
I know. What if he like made some bullshit up to get in?
He doesn't know anything about this.
You know,
He doesn't get
weirder
info.
shit has happened.
The only thing he gets is if there's a pregnancy, he gets like notified, like, yes, there's a pregnancy. That's it.
Can
Because
you
he also
imagine?
makes more. Like he gets more money if he gets pregnancy. It's like a stud. Like horse.
Dude,
Like you
Oh,
literally
like does the sperm price go up or like they pay
Yes.
him later? Oh, so
I-
his sperm costs more.
he gets royalties. He gets sperm royalties.
when I found him in
Syndicated.
listen, you think I like that you think that's funny. When I found him in 2017, his sperm was $700, like per vial. So one vial was $700. When I actually inseminated in 2019, it was $950 because he had had multiple, well, not multiple, he had had like 3 pregnancies by that point, 3 or 4.
Damn,
So
you
it's
picked like a
proven.
popular dude.
Apparently, he's very good looking.
Yeah, his freaking. I kind of want to meet this guy.
I can show you a
I
picture. I'm
mean,
not-
it's a 6 foot Latino as well. So
And
you know,
so rare.
Wait, he
So,
is?
so rare. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was
I
a
mean,
white
Daisy,
dude.
were you paying attention to
Well,
it?
all I heard was she said curly hair. I was like, what the hell?
She's out.
I literally focused on that. And that's all I heard. Did you say, what did you say? Curly hair, 6 foot tall.
And it's,
Oh, I didn't know that. What kind of Latino?
he's
Oh, it's all Bad
Mex-
Bunny. Just kidding.
it's like Mexican. I forget what the other 2 are. It's a mix. He's a mix for sure.
So your kids are barely even white.
Correct. But
They look
sure
white as
it.
fuck.
They sure look it.
Yeah, because we're the same. She's half and half, just like me. But it's flip flop. Your mom, isn't it? Your
Yeah,
mom,
my
her
mom.
dad's white. Damn, that's wild. I didn't know that. I thought your kids were white as hell.
They sure look it.
That's crazy.
But so does Robert.
Bro, your
Bringing
brother.
it back to Robert.
Yeah, he is cool shit though. Like I mean, I met him like once or twice, and I've talked about him how many times. I really liked him a lot. Okay, so you went on this trip.
Okay, so learned about the siblings. Since then, it's been probably 2 years since I joined the group. More moms and babies have been added.
It's crazy.
I think we're up. It's like maybe like 15, I think.
Stop. Are you
It's-
serious? That is the wildest thing I've
that's
ever
less
heard.
than I would have thought, though. Like,
Less?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. In my mind, when she was talking earlier, I was imagining like hundreds of babies coming from
No,
this.
no. But like, so literally no one lives in the same state. Everybody is in different
That's good.
states, which yeah, it is good. And then there's 2 couples in the UK and 1 in like Australia, I think.
Dude, this guy is Mr. Worldwide.
Yes.
So what's the demographic here? Like, is it just heterosexual and queer?
Great
It's like
question.
a 50
Single-
split of single moms and lesbian couples. And there's 1 couple who it was like they couldn't have a baby on their own, so they're a hetero couple. So the boy, the brother, he does have like a dad, like who's been there from the get-go, but he's not biologically his, obviously. That's the only like hetero couple that did the process together. One girl has since got married since having her son, but he's obviously not the dad. Like he wasn't around when she got pregnant or had him or anything like that. But it is a lot of single moms, in varying ages. Like we're all like the youngest is like late 20s and the oldest is late 40s.
I'm just
So.
curious if this guy, like, I know this is not about him, it's about your journey, but I am curious about like inside the like psyche of somebody who does this, because it's like, is it he just a dude that's like, let me make some money, I need money, or maybe he has a family and he's like, this is an easy way to make money, or is it truly coming from a place of like, I want to help people, because he has helped you and 14 other people.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, when he donated, he was in his 20s. So he's like a decent amount younger than I am. So
Yeah.
it could have been like, hey, I'm in college and I need money, or I just need money, or maybe he did just want to help people. I have no idea.
Yeah, because I think our natural like American trained mind is to think the worst, right? Like overgeneralize bad shit. When it's like, no, genuinely, there's probably people that do stuff that are like, let me help these people.
Yeah.
It could be a combination too. Like it could be like,
Yeah.
he's early 20s. Maybe he is a compassionate dude. And then at the same time was like, you mean I could jerk off like I do every single day and make some money? So who knows?
Yeah. Do you know his like location, like where he lives? Nothing.
I don't know anything about him. I have the 3 pictures. That's it. So I have a baby, kid, and 2 like grown-up pictures. That's it.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Okay,
So
so back to this trip.
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So for the girl, my daughter's just turned 4 in April, and we flew to Pennsylvania and stayed with some family, but we met one of their half sisters. She's a year and a half. Her mom is a single mom. She's in her mid 40s, had previously been married, and then they got divorced, and she never had a kid. So she just went through the process on her own, had this baby girl. So we met her, and then last year we met a half brother from the mom, Sarah, who created the group. They live in Washington. They flew out to Sacramento last year, and like we hung out for like 5 days. So her and her son and us 3 got an Airbnb in New York, and then met another brother, and they're all the same age. Like they're all born within a couple months of each other. So 4 siblings, 2 boys, 2 girls, all together.
We're in New York.
Long Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were there for like a week, a little over a week, something like that.
That's so
Yep.
fun. So
Yeah.
like the kids are so young. How are the other ones all? You said they were all born kind of in the 2020-ish.
Mhm.
So they're all kind of around the same age, you said?
Yeah, they're all 4 or about to be 4. Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's
like,
crazy.
they're all basically acting this, for the most part, acting the same, into the same stuff. Yeah.
Lots of Peppa Pig, shit like that.
No, not anymore. Not Pepper anymore. But
Georgie.
yeah, it was interesting because one of the brothers looks a lot like my girls. The other one doesn't look anything like them to me. So I think that's interesting. Like
Yeah.
one of them looks like my nephews. It's like he could be like he is their half brother, but it's like he looks so much like them. Like when we went out, just us, people were stopping us, thought that they were triplets.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy because his mom also has um like very, very light hair, like a dirty blonde and bright blue eyes. Like her and I look nothing alike. She's white, like very, very pale white. And then his hair is a little bit lighter than the girls, but like very similar color. Their skin tone's the same. Their feet look identical. Like it's so crazy.
It's so weird, those little things, right?
Yeah.
That just notice with like families, because I feel like obviously Melissa knows my brother Mikey and my sister Amanda are, to me, look exactly like twins. Like they're just everything about them, their nose, their mannerisms, they like look so much alike. And Hendrix's feet, like the second his little feet formed to not like infant feet, I'm like, oh my God, dude. Sorry, he has Mikey's feet. He has little Flintstone feet like my brother. And I remember Mikey's little feet when he was like a toddler too. It's weird in the families, like all those little things, you know. And there's things Jacqueline does, my niece, who is like, my brother and I have the same mom and dad, and obviously Jacqueline's my niece, but she does things and I'm like, she reminds me of my dad. It's so weird. those little traits, you know? So that's like, what a crazy experience to have
Yeah.
that and that be like, you know, no,
Yeah.
no, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, that's a trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
My hope is, and I think some of the other moms is like that by having each other in their lives, it will kind of like be a piece of this like dad that they don't know. You know, it's like that side of him is each other. So they know each other growing up. Like they're always going to know each other exist. And like we all do, the other mom, Sarah, she sends all the kids matching pajamas for Christmas.
Hmm.
Oh my
Every year,
gosh.
we all post the photos of the kids so that we can see every year, you know, all of them together. If there's any health issues like allergies, like if someone's like allergic to eggs or nuts or well, like whatever, or like one of the boys had to have heart surgery like 6 months
Oh,
ago
damn.
or something. And it's just like all that type of stuff. We all post about it. Like, okay, who's allergic to what? Who's had a reaction to like a vaccine? Like, it's just very nice to have that little community to talk about like possibilities or, you know, like
Yeah.
whatever.
For your
Because
girls too, it's like you're not keeping any secrets, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like everything's open. And to your point, hopefully that will fill in any voids that they might fill as, you know, there as they get older and don't.
yeah,
Well, if it makes you feel better, like every parent's sending their kid to therapy for something. It doesn't matter what household they're coming from.
I mean,
It could be
our generation. I mean, hopefully not the younger generation.
I
I
think
hope that we're making it safe enough for them to talk about things
100%,
throughout
100%.
instead of waiting until your 30s to be like, okay, let me talk about and process my shit.
I agree, but I do think there's going to be something along the way you're going to do with your girls that is not going to align with them as people. It's the same for like,
Yeah.
there's no perfect household. There's nothing,
No.
you're never going to ever, as a human being, handle every situation that arises either already past or in the future, where your girls are not going to have it be a core memory. It's just, I'm not trying to, it's
No, I
just a
know.
fact.
It just makes
You
me
know?
think of things that are
Yeah,
like,
but I mean, it is just a fact, you know. So
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things where it's like, how cool that you guys are exactly like Melissa said, filling that void.
Yeah.
Whether it be having two moms, two dads, two whatever, you know. I do want to get into the queer stuff because,
Yeah.
you know, like how is it? I obviously know some experiences you've had even just being around Midtown, but like, how is it being a single queer mom with two girls?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of hard to answer just because I don't present super gay.
Yeah, we don't wear a gay really.
Yeah, like I'm not like ultra femme, but I look like a girl and I have daughters, so people do not assume like people will say like, "Oh, does your husband do X, Y,
Yeah,
and Z?"
that's what I'm getting at.
And you know, the majority of the time I don't say anything because it's like if I just met you at the farmer's market or at the park with my daughters, I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, actually, I'm a gay single mom. I did this all by myself."
Just put
But-
just wear a
Gay.
shirt or
Actually,
something.
gay.
Yeah, but there are times like you know, there's been families that I've like we've ran into multiple times at the park, and it's like, okay, I don't want them thinking like if they're asking about a husband, I don't want them thinking that, you know, type of a thing. So it's like it's just not the case. But if it's just like a random, I normally won't say anything. So yeah, for the most part, it's not like people just like, no, hey, like that lady's gay with two kids. Or people think I had them with
the gay with
a
the kids.
man, but now I'm gay. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, because that's common
Yeah.
too.
yeah, it's
It's
my
more,
gosh.
I mean, I would say in my 42-year dating experience, it is more
Dating for
common.
42 years.
No. My experience, because I just
Actually,
recently
42
started, you know, I said after my school winds down, I'll open my apps again. And I've done that, and you see on there the like just got out of a long, 20-year marriage, want to be me now. And it's like, girl, I'm here for that, but go be me with another new gay. Because that's all us veteran gays. I am not trying to be your first, babe. You're gonna try to move in with me a week later. I'm not into it.
Is there a veteran
I
gay
done
app?
I done did that.
There
Is
should
there a veteran
be
gay
a
app?
veteran gay app.
I should create a
No
veteran
newbies
gay.
allowed. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I don't
No,
want
no noobs.
I hate to be so exclusive, but like, sometimes it's like there's levels to this shit,
There is.
If you
I don't
don't
know.
understand your way
Casey's a
around.
brand new gay and she's really good at it.
This bitch.
I don't know. Being someone's like first lesbian relationship is like not easy.
It's
And
a lot of pressure.
it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of like work in different ways. And I feel like at least from my experiences, it's like having to undo their hetero norm views. Like, I am not a dude.
I also deal with a lot of their family heteronorm views.
I'm not worried about that, but it's like if you want to go on more dates, then you should probably say we're going on a date this time, not I want to go on more dates and think I'm the dude and I'm gonna like make a date happen. Like
I also
we're dating each other.
100%. But that's also the tricky part. There's two parts of that. One, I do think, and this is my experience. I'm not saying this is the overgeneralized gay experience. With my one and only long-term homo experience, right? I was love bombed like a motherfucker because that shit, there's no man, right, to like tell you to like stop the shit. There's no man. I feel like I keep sliding farther and farther down on
You
this guy.
are.
I don't know, but this whole video is like
I know, I'm so sorry. It's me just like,
I'm gonna throw up after this.
I know, right? I'm sorry, everybody. It's a roller coaster of emotion. There's no like man that's in between that's like cutting out that, you know.
I don't like what you're doing right now.
There's no man that's cutting it out. And I feel like it just everything happens so fucking fast. And
That's not I think some guys probably do love bomb and some guys
no, I'm saying she love bombed me.
I know. I'm saying, but you're saying that a guy would stop that.
I think that men pump the brakes because they're emotionally some, I don't want to overgeneralize again. There are some men that my experience
Okay. All right.
has been that men will once there starts getting some actual intimacy, emotional, not physical intimacy, things will, slow down a little bit because it's like, oh, whoa, hold on. Whereas women, it's fucking, pass go, collects 200, you're going.
Yeah.
It's not stopping.
Yeah.
And well, Melissa, I don't know if you've actually experienced this, but as gay, queer women who have dated multiple times, sometimes you'll get those women that are all fucking, it's go, 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 go. And I'm like, yo, I thought you were cool. And then you text me 7 times today and I haven't responded because I'm busy and I don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been the go, go, go new gay, not the 7 texts because I mean, I don't do that. Yeah. I've definitely been in those dating relationships where it's like, I don't even think sometimes people know how fast they're trying to move. Like back it up. Like we literally just met. We do not know each other. I think sometimes like gay relationships feel so much more intense or like the chemistry or whatever because of
100%.
2 women. So it's like, this is so good. This is so great. Like we should probably just get married. Like, like
tonight.
exactly.
That ass, bro.
That's how it is. And it's like, that is not healthy. That's something like, especially after having kids, I definitely look at and
That's
like,
what I was gonna ask.
slow it on down. Like, let's truly get to know each other. Let's figure out if you parent the same way that I do, or even remotely think the same way to parent. Like, what are your traumas? Like, let's like really, really get to know each other. Let's have some fights and see how those go. Like I don't want to move fast, and I don't want to like move in fast. Like I would never want to move my kids in with someone fast. Like, it's totally different.
That's damaging
now. Totally. I
because
mean,
kids don't have the emotional capacity like built yet to understand if it doesn't work out, why I got close to this person, then now I have to leave.
exactly.
Well, it would probably feel like a bunch of divorces,
And so much abandonment and like the issues with abandonment, that shit runs deep. I've experienced that. I don't know about you guys, but didn't realize I was in it until the last one, and then I was like, whoa, what the fuck I'm acting like a crazy person.
Yeah.
It's hard, but
My dad dated a lot when I was a kid, like when me and my brothers were kids, but he never moved anybody in, which looking back, like as a parent myself, like I respect that he never brought anyone into our space. But with that said, no disrespect, because I do think parents like, yeah, we should still be able to be ourselves as
People.
a person and date. So like I don't fault him for dating, but I like it was never talked about like, oh, you're dating so and so, and like we loved her. There was this one lady that I loved that he dated when I was a little girl, and she was so good to me and like taught me about like hairspray. I was like 6 or 7, but she was just so sweet and like caring and just like a good person. And she had her own kids, and we'd like all do stuff together. And then it was like we didn't see her anymore. And I remember thinking like, why don't we see her anymore? But it was like never talked about. so I guess like from that experience, like I would at least want to sit down with the girls and be like, okay, so and so's like not coming out anymore or whatever. But with that being said, that's like at this age now because they truly would attach and they would remember somebody. It's like really before this, it was like I could bring people in and out. They're not gonna remember.
Yeah.
Like, but now
Yeah.
it's like they're definitely aware. They ask about people, even friends, you know. Um, so like when I told most coming over here, it's like we saw her like a week ago, so they know who Stacy is. It's like
Drop some cookies off, and those cookies
Yeah.
are gone. Everybody at school appreciated those.
nice.
Aw.
But it's like a year ago, that probably wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, definitely not. It's like I definitely need to be more intentional about that and aware, like moving forward, like the older they get.
Do you think, have you experienced, because I know they're at daycare part-time, right?
Yeah, they're at a Montessori.
Have you experienced them like talking about gender, talking about mommies and daddies? Like, how do you handle that?
They do, but that really stemmed from cartoons, actually. So like Coco Melon was the first they saw mom and dad, and so they would talk about mommies and daddies, even when they like play together. Like just today, they're playing, and one of them was a daddy. It's like I'm gonna let that happen. It's natural. It is what it is. That's what they're seeing. Almost every show has a mom and a dad. There's one show they watch that has a single dad, but it's like they don't know, oh, he's a single dad in this show. They just
Yeah.
know this
Mom's
little
not
girl.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have neighbors who it's two moms. And then some of their siblings obviously have just a mom or two moms. So like we talk about that. We've never met anyone with two dads, but we have more of like a, I guess, a two mom community. And I just keep telling them over, I have for like the last like 2 years. It could be two moms, two dads, grandparents, one mom, you know, one dad, so that hopefully they realize like families look different no matter what, and they're all okay. But
I like that. I feel like you don't know this, but basically everybody in Melissa's family is gay. Yeah, like her and all her siblings.
Not
Well, not
everybody, literally.
not her mom and dad.
family.
Not her mom and dad, obviously. But I'm saying immediate
still fine.
siblings. Yeah, her
They're
brother's
still
gay. Her sister has a long-term wife. Oldest
Long-term
nephews.
wife.
Yeah, well, like
No,
they've
I
been
know.
married. You know, like her nephew's only really known two moms, right? And the reason I'm bringing that up is like for me, as somebody who dates both, and it's for very 50-50, I haven't brought anybody around since my last one because I mean, God, I hate to say it this way, but like no one's been worthy enough, you know. Once I get to that point where I'm dating somebody seriously enough to bring them around my family, it's like because I deem them worthy enough to be around my family.
Mhm.
And now that they knew my last ex when shit, my oldest niece was 2, you know, my nephew was 2, they were maybe 3, they're actually probably 3, and then my youngest niece was 1, and Hendrix wasn't even born. So it's like now I'm thinking, this has been on my mind a lot lately, like how do I have those conversations specifically with Jacqueline because she's so wit fucking smart. Not that the other ones are, but Jacqueline is the inquisitive one, you know, the
Mhm.
questions, the questions, the questions. And Melissa could account for this. We have a whole episode about being queer and being raised in Lodi and our identities. And they don't seem two mommies. I have 2 different sets of kids in my class that have 2 moms, you know, like it's not, I'm in Sacramento and my school's in Rio Linda and it's still not, you know, it's not something that's like, I don't, 2 moms drop a kid off. I'm like, high fives, like, don't care. 2 dads doesn't, but we didn't grow up in a town. Like, you know, she actually went to school in Lodi, but like, we didn't, you know, grow up that way. And I am trying to think of ways to like, I don't want to show up with a girlfriend one day and be kissing and then be like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Because it is going to be confusing. They're kids. They don't know what sex is. They don't know like, you know, but like gender is a natural thing. And I didn't think about this. I always thought it was from their school. They're very like, Talon, you're a boy and we're girls and Talon's a boy and that's a boy. They were really caught up on gender for a
Yeah.
minute. And I did, as a teacher even was like, how do I handle this? Because they're not wrong.
Yeah.
They're not, it's science. Like
Yeah.
they're not wrong, but I don't want them thinking everybody has to identify as a gender because there are a lot of people who are, you know, gender nonconforming, and I want that conversation to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you have that conversation with a 6-year-old? I don't know.
Maybe not 6. I don't know. My girls are definitely too young for that, but they like literally just today at dinner before I came here, one of my girls randomly was like, "Do boys have penises?" And do most boys have penises? That's what she said. And I said, yes, most boys do have penises.
Yeah.
And then the other girl said, and most girls have vaginas. And I said, yes, most girls have vaginas. And I try to use most because it's like biologically, most women do have vaginas and most men do have penises, but there are transgender people who don't, and there are intersex. Like, I think a lot of people forget about that. Like, not everyone's parts are one or the other.
Yeah,
You know?
it's
Like,
true.
so having non-binary makes sense because biologically there are intersex people. Even if like their face presents as a man or their face presents as a woman, or they have boobs or don't have boobs, like you have no idea what their actual like genitalia are. So saying every man has a penis, it's just not true. Like,
Yeah, that's very true.
but as far as like getting into the weeds, like no. But I think just little like changes in verbiage like that can be helpful.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big thing, and Melissa, I actually want to hear from you because you obviously had a big impact on Zay, right? Growing up, seeing you and Jeannie, growing up, seeing him, his mom and his, his moms.
Mhm.
And so I always think, I'm big in my family on the word consent. And we say that, especially, I hate to put the most pressure on Talon, because he's a boy, but I do think little boys need to hear that in consent. And in my classroom, even though my kids are on the spectrum, I'm huge on that.
Yeah.
I like social stories is a big thing with like, I think kids in general, but kids on the spectrum, it's like a tool we use for kids who are like touching bodies. And it's like a big thing where I'm like, if I have a kid even run up to me and just hug me as much as I'm like, fuck yeah, like get in here. Let's do this. I'm also like, hey, did Miss Stacy say it's okay for you to hug her? You need to like ask me.
Yeah.
You don't just touch my body, and like, so we're doing the consent thing. We've been doing that for many years, but it's like, what would you say as an auntie who had such a big part, in a mostly gay family about like, like what did you guys do? Jose?
I feel like we just lived and were open. Like that, I don't feel like there was anything other than what, like honestly, what Sarah's saying, right? Like continuously just talking about there's different sets of like there's two parents, sometimes it's a grandparent. I said that to him all the time growing up, just because I didn't want him to feel insecure about his family dynamic because
Yeah.
there was times where it was just his mom, right? One mom, and then he had two moms for a while. And so just, I didn't want him to feel any kind of way, even though it was a little bit more common when he was going to school, because he's only 20 now.
Yeah.
But I just lived like as authentically as I could live. Whatever phase of my life I was in, I showed up as myself to encourage them to show up as themselves. And then just always had that conversation. And again, he's a boy as well. So I'd always talk to him about consent, and I'd always talk to him about like respecting women's bodies and respecting women's emotions. Like feelings were important for me to talk to him about too, that like, you also can't just say whatever you're feeling in that moment to anybody. But like if he was going to be dating or you have to still like be cognizant of people's feelings and how
A long time to learn that one.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I think is if we can all just like live authentically around them and be honest with them, there should be no shame in anything. And so I think it feels good what you're doing with just having conversations. And I think you can have conversations as, the moment that they start understanding.
Yeah, it's all very simple at this age for sure. Like, because even a couple nights ago, like they've been very obsessed with Beauty and the Beast recently. And one of my girls said at dinner, again, randomly, I want to marry Belle. And I said, you can marry Belle. And then the other one was like, well, I want to marry you, like telling her sister that.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, I'll marry you and Belle. And I'm like, well, who's mama supposed to marry? Because normally they're like, one of them marries me and one of them marries somebody else, whatever. And she goes, oh, you can marry, and says the girl's name who I've been talking to. I'm like, okay, so she knows I can marry a girl because we've talked about that. Girls can marry girls, boys can marry boys. And, they know that princesses marry princes. Like they just, all this stuff, but they also know they could marry a princess if they want to. Like, and of course, it's very simplified at this age, but I think it all starts probably around 2 of just talking about things, normalizing everything. Like families look so different.
Yeah.
And you normalize that because ultimately I never really thought, okay, when they go to school, I don't want them to feel bad about our situation because I don't look at being a single mom as a bad thing. I look at it as like kind of a badge of honor. Like I don't typically like think of myself like, oh, you're a fucking badass. But the reality is I am.
You
Like
are.
I'm
Yes,
doing
you
this
are.
by myself and
Right.
I know I'm doing a good job.
Mhm.
And it has taken me time to like be able to even say that out loud, but like I know that's the truth. And I don't know, like I just lost my train of thought with that one.
You're talking about how great you are. Keep going.
Yeah, how great I am.
No,
Oh,
I
cool.
normalizing everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
going to school, it was when they start going to like, I mean, even now, I guess at their preschool, but once they're in real school and kids' situations all look super different, I want them to be open, understanding, and like if someone is like, oh, so and so has two dads, for them to be like, okay, and like not be making fun of kids for having different situations or being jerks about someone having two parents or one parent or a grandparent or being like, that's weird. Like, no,
Yeah.
I want them to be those kids that are like, okay,
Yeah.
and my mom's gay. Like, like I
But
don't
that is a relevant conversation. I mean, I would say in
totally.
my caseload of kids, half of them are being raised by their grandparents.
Wow.
Like it's not uncommon. I mean, my mom is a more than a grandma. She's a very hands-on. My brothers are single dads. She's a very hands-on parent. And I don't think some people understand our family dynamic. And to be honest, they don't have to.
Right.
They don't
No.
have to understand it. It just is what it is. And my nieces and nephews are happy and healthy, and that's really all that matters. But it is something that's definitely been like on my mind as somebody who's like entering the dating world again, where I'm like, I would never bring anybody around them anyway. It took me a long time even to bring the last one around, but it was like, you know, luckily enough, same. They were too young to remember that he was just gone one day.
Yeah.
Thank God. But yeah,
Yeah,
Praise.
you just like want to be able to raise your kids, or I mean, like hopefully this generation as a whole is being raised in such a way that they're not judging or making fun of or hating on those types of things. Like, yes, we know there are just very, very conservative people out there still. They're gonna be, and they're
and
raising,
they're not going to go away.
right. They're not gonna go away. They're raising other generations as we are, but it's like we need to raise our kids strong enough to be good people to stand up for things that are like, hey, it doesn't matter what someone's family life looks like or what they have or don't have. It's like, I think all of that stuff comes together and it is very simplistic. Like the
Yeah.
way you teach it now, you could teach it for the next 5 years to them. It's like, it's
Mhm.
simple. It does not matter. Like that stuff doesn't matter. It's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Like acceptance, literally acceptance. If they're not hurting somebody else, like it does not affect your world. So,
Shit, if it was just that easy, though,
right.
because everybody
But
would
it does take
rock that
conditioning,
opinion.
just as all of us were conditioned. That's conditioning as well, and so I think that that's healthy conditioning, right? They're going to
That's
keep
that is,
hearing.
yeah, I love that, and that is so relevant because we all three have grown up in a church,
Yep.
and there's so much unlearning I had to do. I mean, I don't. I've said this before. I don't. There's moments that it was like, come if you want to accept Jesus in your heart, come down here, and I'd go down there like I don't feel any different. Like, well, I keep trying to do this and it's not happening. So it's like for me, it was more that mental aspect of the like, what's wrong with me that I'm not feeling what all these people around me are saying they're feeling.
Yeah.
When in reality, when you really think about it, half of them probably were feeling the same way. Half of them maybe were like not feeling.
But also, side note, like having any type of like religious relationship with whatever like God you're choosing, it shouldn't be based on emotions.
Yeah.
And that's what you're thinking is like, why am I not feeling whatever? And it's like, that's how I think a lot of churches or religion pull people in is like they tap into that emotion, like, oh yeah, I am a terrible person. I am this, I am that. Like I do need X, Y, and Z. And it's like that, in my opinion, is not Jesus. That's not God.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that has anything like that's the man-made stuff, the religious part, the cultish part,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree. Well, damn, do you have any advice for any queers out there wanting to find a donor?
Any queers.
And of course.
I mean, not just for the queers, but I mean any like single women who are wanting to do it, whether they're gay or not. it's extremely hard. Like the reality of it is like, you know, I I knew I could do it. I knew financially I could do it, all of those things. And I am, but there are things like I remember before I got pregnant, one of my stepsisters who had a baby at the time and was trying for her second told me like this shit is hard. It's so hard. And after I had kids, I realized the reason why she told me it's hard is because there's no other word. Like there's not a word besides hard that we could use to describe it.
Yeah.
And like any moms listening are going to understand what I mean. Like there's nothing like there needs to be a word that's harder than hard that we don't have. But like if you haven't experienced having kids and all of that that comes with the labor and delivery experience, the postpartum, and not postpartum like meaning depression or anxiety or whatever, but literally just your hormones, like trying to regulate that can take over a year. It could take 2 years. Like your
Yeah.
hair is falling out for the first year and then growing back. And like your periods are, my periods are still different. Like there's so much stuff that impacts besides just being like, okay, day-to-day tasks. And um, it's not just a physical load on you, it's the mental load that's like mental, emotional, I guess, load that's just on you. So like if my kids are sick, like they've gotten some pretty like significant sicknesses so far, I'm the only one carrying that like mental load of like Googling symptoms or making appointments or calling the doctor or
Or they are.
going to the ER in the middle of the night or freaking out internally, like because so-and-so's fever is 104. Like carrying all of that is a lot. Like, I mean, shit, 2 years ago I got shingles. Like, we're not supposed to get shingles at
I
this.
know.
Like, our bodies hold so much. And it is, I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody because it's obviously
No, this is not
doable,
scary. This
but
is the
like,
truth.
yeah, it is hard on a different level of hard than you've never experienced, especially if you want to do this shit the right way and intentionally and break generational shit and trauma and work through your own stuff. Like that is hard to regulate yourself 24/7, teach someone else, well, for me, two other people, how to regulate themselves and do it all in the right way, and
Yeah.
unlearn while I'm trying to teach them and then learn when I don't necessarily have those examples or experiences to be like you saying you think I'm a gentle parent. Like I think for the most part I am, and I never experienced that. Like
Yeah.
I got my ass beat.
Yeah.
I got yelled at. I
Yeah.
got hit.
Yeah.
I got all these things that I don't want to do. And I I do yell sometimes. I have spanked them. It's not something I do like continually, but it has happened.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's so much to it of not just like, oh, having a baby and can you afford it? Or do you have the space? Or like, do you think you can handle it or go back to work? It's like, there's just so many levels to it that, I mean, you can do it. You probably can't do it.
No,
But
I
it's
don't.
like,
I think what you're
it's
saying
so
is
much to
right.
consider.
Well, and also too, you having children was a choice.
Yes.
You got to make a choice. Some people obviously are not privileged enough to do that, but also it was a choice that you made because you wanted to do it. And I think that people need to hear the reality. And this is a common theme with a lot of the parents. We've had an episode with Katie and Allison who talked about the traumatic labor and delivery they had, almost dying.
That
Like,
was me.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, let's say what it is. And my sister was the first one that said this to me to make me think, where she was like, my labor was trauma. I did not get to have my mom and my sister there. She gave birth during COVID.
Yep.
She's like, I was terrified. Hendrix was a month early.
Yep.
Like it, he was in the NICU for 2 weeks. Like it's like the trauma of that. And then we had Joey last week who was saying it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. Joey has never any second I've ever told him, I don't know, like, should I be a mom? He's like, it's so hard. I'm not telling you not to do it, Stacey, but like you are a get up and go. If you wanted to go to New York on Friday and you could find a reasonable ticket, you would do it. You're brave, you're courageous, you're that type of person. You will not be able to do that.
Yeah.
Do you want to sacrifice that? And I'm like, nope, fuck that, you're right. But people need to hear that shit because it's like, I think people do have this like idea that it's super just like, easy, and it's like, no, if you
Beautiful
what
or-
he said specifically, because actually obviously we just released that episode, so I just listened to it. He said, if oh God, now I lost it. Basically something along the lines of, if you think you're just gonna like float into it, if it's gonna be easy, it's like, do not have kids, because it is so hard. More than anything, it's the most rewarding but challenging thing you could ever do.
I would say if you're on the fence, like Melissa earlier, you said like I could or I couldn't. Literally my body,
She'll drop her kids off.
I wanted to like my whole body like reacted when you said that because I wanted to just be like, then don't. Because like not trying to talk you out of it, but like anyone who talks to me who is like kind of on the fence, I tell them don't. Because if you're on the fence, if you're not fucking sure that this is what you want, because this is obviously I was so intentional about this process. And there are times I've never regretted it, not once. And I do not, but there are definitely moments I've resented it. for
Oh, of
sure.
course.
And it doesn't matter how intentional, how much you want it, how much you would not change having them. There are times, and it's not, parenting is extremely beautiful, but it's beautiful in like the hard and the good, if that makes sense. But if you aren't sure, then I can't imagine. Like, I can't imagine going through the hardest moments that I have, like mentally, emotionally hard, physically, whatever, and being unsure. Like, that is when moms leave, like, truly.
Yeah.
And it has made me realize, like, why. I mean, you add in postpartum depression, anxiety, you add in not wanting kids or not wanting multiples. What if you only wanted one, but your husband wants three?
Mhm.
And then you have three and you're done. Like you cannot function, so you leave. Like what about those moms? Like they didn't want that. They didn't want that life, so then they leave it.
I always think about that movie, Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood. Have you guys ever seen that?
I remember it, but
It's so good. Watch it. I love it. It's like Ashley Judd, and Ashley Judd just fucking kills it. And I think Sandra Bullock, I don't remember, but it's basically about that. It's about like based, I think, in the 50s, and it's like the South, this mom and her two best friends, and how the mom is this like, she's very clearly dealing with like bipolar and postpartum and, having a life. I don't think that this is my perception, she didn't want. And it's like the daughter coming back to her hometown because something's going on. I don't remember the whole thing, but like has to come back, and she's like clearly avoidant. So she ran away and got a job in the big city, and the Nolan 90s plot. But like I loved it because I'm like, dude, like as women, we don't think about this. Like even the Hendrix is gonna be 3 in September, even seeing my sister physically as a being now, it's like this is Amanda. This is like she looks herself, she's herself, acts herself, and she will openly say it. You can never understand. That's like one thing I can never big sister her on. I never could tell my sister this, and this about having a baby because I have no idea. I can never, I'm not a parent. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be by her side, as much as she wants me to be, but like ultimately I'm not a parent, and I haven't been in the boroughs with her. I don't know.
Yeah. And
You
I
know?
will say, like, for the people who are either like, wanting to do it or do like in the process or maybe pregnant or maybe have young kids, like your mental health gets so fucked. Like beyond like I've definitely had some dark days like in my life, like traumatic childhood, some traumatic events in my adult life, but this is so much different. And if I didn't have like certain friends that I could say, like, I want to go play in traffic right now, like, you might find me on the fucking news tonight, like, and obviously, like, I'm serious to a point and joking to a point, but saying it, like, getting it out, like, I want to fucking run away tonight, or like right now, or like, I'm so done. It takes some power away of just, being able to say those things.
Mhm.
But like truly being able to talk about like the deep scary feelings that come up, I think is important because the women that like pulled that shit in, they're the ones literally on the news, killed their kids or drove their car into a lake, or
Yeah.
it's like, and I don't like, obviously I don't condone any of that, but there's part of me that's like, she must have had zero support.
Yeah.
She must have had postpartum depression or postpartum like psychosis. Like there's so many like diagnoses that I know somebody who I went to high school with, his wife, she had insane postpartum to where she wanted to kill herself, hurt the baby. And he's a pastor. Like they are like upstanding, like He's a good dude. She's a good, sorry, just such a, she's a good woman. She's a nurse. Like, and this happened to her with her first baby in their 20s. And he was like, I didn't even know who my wife was. She wouldn't even touch the baby. Like, it was so insane. And she had to go to intensive therapy at Kaiser every single 5 days a week, all day, like a job for
Damn.
months until she started getting better. They had to move in with her grandparents and they had to take all the knives out of the house, like insane. And it's like somebody that you would look at and think, oh, that would never happen. Like you're this like amazing, sweet girl, you're educated, you're a nurse, like you're all these things. And
Yeah.
it's like the hormones, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't,
That's
it's
you're like a pressure cooker, right? Like if you can't
Yeah.
release
Wow.
something, it's like
I mean, imagine if she didn't have a supportive husband who literally raised their baby on his own. She wouldn't even feed the baby, touch it, nothing. He did it all by himself that whole time until she started getting better. Or imagine if like they didn't have somewhere else to go, you know, so that grandparents were basically watching her. Or if she didn't go to therapy. Like think about that, the privilege of them having the insurance to go to
Yeah.
intensive therapy. Because these women, there's so many women that don't have that. There's women that don't have enough to even buy enough formula in a month, let
Yeah.
alone go to therapy or get meds. Like after, so he actually does a podcast. And when the girls were almost one, I listened to it because he had his wife on to talk about it. And it was their first time talking about it publicly. And their daughter was like 3 or 4 at the time. So it had taken them years to get to the point of talking about it. After listening to that episode, I called Kaiser and got on meds because I was like, I'm not okay. Like I
Yeah.
started talking to a therapist through Kaiser, and it's like, I think it just needs to be talked about more. Like
Yeah.
women's mental health. Like your babies get checkups constantly in their first year. You get one postpartum checkup.
Well, can we also
6
talk about the
weeks.
fact that you barely get any time off if you have to work?
Yeah.
And then when you are off, you're getting at least in education. And I know this because of what, Kayla's going through. You get like you're paying for your sub. We pay for our sub when you are on maternity leave.
Whoa.
So you were getting like your check is like $100. Like who the fuck can live like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I think with the state, it was like 40%. Like I got 40% of my
40 fucking percent though. Like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That's
And I took
insane.
6 months off and I was just okay. Like I was able to live off that, right? So I got paid 8 weeks because I had a C-section. If it was vaginal, it would have been 6 weeks. Like some women's vaginal births are more traumatic than a C-section. Like you could TMI, but you could tear completely.
Dude,
Like-
you don't have to tell me. I already know. I
We've
don't
heard
have a
care a
child.
lot.
I
I think that's
don't
part
have
of
a
why I'm on the
child.
fence.
Literally, I do not have a child because I'm not ripping into this butthole.
But then
I
you think,
know.
oh, well, that wasn't as bad as getting cut open through how many layers they cut up. And it was like, are you kidding me? They're still surgically getting fixed and stitched back up because they don't just leave you torn.
Yeah.
Like,
All right. Well, the answer is no. Thanks for all that. Because fuck that.
yeah, there's just, I don't know. Like you said at the beginning, like it does definitely take a village. Some people don't have that though. So I think that's something that women need to consider. Like, if you're gonna do it alone, like, do you have parents that are supportive? And not just say they're supportive, but like, are they gonna show up and help you feed your kids at 2 a.m?
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna get up with you or like my mom was in the hospital with me I was in the hospital for 10 days, almost died. Like I had told her once they get them out, go with them, make sure they're fine. She did not. She stayed with me because like I'm her child. I was dying on the table going in and out. Like
Yeah.
them trying to keep me from bleeding out. And my blood pressure just kept dropping and dropping and all this stuff. It's like the babies were fine. I wasn't. Then they're in the NICU for 2 weeks. And my mom was there the whole time. That whole
Yeah.
entire time she was there and afterwards. And then my dad stepped in, because it's a lot. It is
Yeah.
a lot with 2 babies and sleep deprivation and all of that. So then I was like, okay, then my dad and his wife had that turn of helping me. And it's like you need people.
Yeah. Our moms would for sure.
Yeah.
Our moms would for sure. I think for me, it's a beautiful thing watching my mom be the grandparent to her grandkids that I don't think she could have been a parent to
Agreed.
me and Vince, specifically. My mom's such a beautiful human being. But I think with the cards she was dealt, she did the best she could. And now that she has educated herself and has a great career and has the means, I think in every way to be better, she's an excellent grandparent. And I love more than anything watching just my nieces and nephews light up when they see her, and it's just I love it. So yeah, well, shit, man, this is awesome.
I know we need to have you on for like part 2 where we can just talk about hormones the whole time because
But
there's a whole nother story to like unlock here with just female hormones and it's wild.
yes, I know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Now we got her all worked up. She's over here.
No, now I'm thinking of like all this other stuff. No, because really it does mess you up. And yeah.
That's honestly though, every single person who comes on literally is like, God, I had so much more I wanted to say. And it's like, yeah, we all, it's a lot. But yeah, no, we appreciate you.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
very
so much.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
good.
so much, you little gay.
you little gay single mom.
You little
Is that what
gay,
your
little
shirt
queer,
says?
you little queer.
I don't know. Next time we should do like an actual like question and answer.
No, that's not how we do shit, okay? I actually have, look, all these questions
Oh my
that
gosh, let's look.
we covered.
Ooh, let me see. Did we?
Yeah, we covered them. Don't worry. Anyway, well,
Yeah,
thank
they
you
got
so
to
much
read.
for being on. I
Oh,
know.
thank you. Appreciate you. Nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too. This has been great, everyone. See you next time.
Toodles. See you next week.
Beautiful mess. Yes, life is a beautiful mess. A beautiful mess.